Hello and welcome to Retro 500, where I take a look at, well, a retro topic today in 500 words. Give or take 10%. Let's go. Nothing seems to rile up the retro gaming community quite like the debate of emulation versus original hardware. It may be hard to believe, but games are here for the purposes of having fun. After years of swinging between original hardware and emulation, I think I've made peace with the situation. I first got into emulation after some geek on my school bus told me to go to a sketchy looking website and download something called dgen, and these things called ROMs, which I did without any hesitation. Having easy access to games like Sonic 3 and Ristar that were physically stored away in an attic allowed me to keep my love of what was then barely retro gaming alive. Thanks to Homebrew, my PSP and Wii probably played more games from other systems than native software. And after building myself a RetroPie, I consistently had a retro gaming setup on my HD TV. There's official stuff too. The Virtual Console on Wii allowed us to legally play classic games we no longer owned or missed out on altogether, like Do Re Mi Fantasy. Let's not forget all the fantastic compilations that the 6th and 7th generation of consoles offered either. My only real gripe with emulation is accuracy, especially with 3D consoles. I was watching a review of Assault Rigs, and the video creator commented on how glitchy the graphics were, but having played this on original hardware, I knew this was an issue with their emulator. Can you fairly judge a game if you're playing it on a bad emulator? On the flip side, sometimes an emulator can provide such a clean picture that you forget that the original console was a blurry mess, and yes, I am talking about the Nintendo 64. Let's talk about the rabbit hole that is original hardware. I use original hardware for all my videos where possible, and the main reason is accuracy. I'm a pain in the arse perfectionist, and I can rest easy knowing that any hiccups that occur in a game I'm playing are normal, something that's not easy to verify with an emulator. Additionally, after years of relying on save states, it's incredibly satisfying to beat a game like an absolute pro gamer on original hardware. There is another reason. Something you probably won't hear many original hardware enthusiasts admit. I've spent too much money to not continue using this stuff. Whether it be buying consoles, games, scalers and capture cards, as well as repairs and modifications, this can be an expensive hobby, especially if you let it get out of control. You might end up spending more time troubleshooting an incredibly convoluted setup than actually playing Super Mario World. Does that sound like fun? To wrap this pointless video up, you should play your retro games in a way that's convenient and affordable for you. Using original hardware and giving these old consoles a new lease of life can be a rewarding experience, but it's something you will end up putting time and money into. Emulation is much more accessible and convenient, and has advanced so much in recent years that the gap between it and original hardware is becoming negligible. So, as long as you're enjoying yourself, who is anyone else to judge? Hey, thanks so much for watching this very different episode of Retro 500. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider doing us a like, maybe even a subscribe, and you can touch my bell should you wish. I hope you can appreciate that I've now solved the problem of emulation versus original hardware, and we never have to discuss this ever again. You're welcome.